So on this recording, well, first of all, thank you to anyone who's already subscribed. I saw a few increase in numbers of views and subscriptions and stuff. If you enjoy what you're listening to, subscribe. If you don't, subscribe. No, I don't know. Do whatever you want. So in this particular video or recording or whatever you want to call it, I want to talk about that feeling of your condition. I mean, I can only speak as somebody with ADD and schizoid personality disorder, but your issues with the fact that most of your just issues, if you want to call them that, are invisible to the naked eye, and the difficulties that come with that. Had an interesting conversation with my psychologist regarding that, which I'll go into also. Okay, so this is kind of how the idea starts, at least in my head. If you have a if you have a blind man, that blind man is apparently blind. Visually, you can tell. You got the glasses, usually a cane, maybe a dog. It becomes really apparent very quickly that the man or woman is blind. So, in accordance with that, you have individuals either stepping out of the way or asking if any help is needed, or things of that nature. Things of that nature, in association with that particular handicap. Same with, like, I don't know, deaf, right? Someone's deaf, you poke their shoulder because they can't hear you, and then they turn around and you realize they're deaf and they weren't just ignoring you. You're not going to be like, hey, fuck you, asshole. You didn't hear what I said. No, you're going to, well, unless you're fucking psychotic, but you're going to be like, oh, hey, oh, you're deaf. Sorry. Let me get somebody that can help you. I don't understand sign language. Or, oh, I do know sign language. Or, can you read lips? Cool. And you go from there, right? So there's this, like, understanding that occurs there in a situation such as that. And, even some, well, I'll go into that after. But the point is, something like being schizoid or whatever type of personality disorders you may endure or are seeking treatment for, and whatever difficulties you may also endure that aren't necessarily considered personality disorders, but they're kind of like some kind of mental challenges or handicaps. None of those things are visible to the naked eye. So because of that, you always have to navigate as though you don't have it in most situations. I mean, you're not walking around with a billboard on your shirt announcing what it is that you possess. And even if you did, most people probably wouldn't even understand what the fuck it is that even means, right? Like if I was walking around and with a shirt that says Schizoid on it, they'd probably look at me and go, "Oh, do you hear voices? What's that like?" You know, or "Hey, what do you sometimes go crazy or something? Are you dangerous?" They would probably go some route like that because they wouldn't know what the word itself means. So wearing something wouldn't necessarily help the situation. It would probably get you more attention, which is, well, obviously what I don't want. It'd probably get more questions or cause more confusion than it would actually help. And so a lot of people with these types of issues, these handicaps, or whatever you want, they're only handicaps because, of the world, the framework we live in. So if it was a different sort of setup, then maybe it wouldn't be handicaps. But the way things are, they generally can be, and they generally are, in some respect. So you have to navigate yourself through that fact. So when I go to, say, an example, if I go to work, I have to use a combination of masking, which I discussed in the last video or recording, and I have to use a combination of just studying other people's behavior in order to properly react, or use the right tone, things like that. I have to change myself in order to accommodate them, because the things that are divergent in myself is not information that's readily available to the people around me. And that's very, very frustrating. And that's part of where a lot of anger comes from when you have something like this, because you feel like you're constantly having to alter yourself, who you are, to accommodate them, because there's little to no option. And um, you can't go around just trying to explain this to everyone, that you have this or you have that, because then it also sounds as if you're asking for attention, or you're looking for attention because you're going around telling people what's wrong with you, or what your issues are, or what is this and what is that. And so then that gets confused with like either some form of narcissistic behavior, or some kind of like maybe you're lying, or you're making it up for pity. And so there's no way to like present it in a way that doesn't seem like you're showing some kind of weakness, or you're looking for some kind of attention. So it's kind of an awkward situation to try to present to anyone, especially if they're doing or participating in something that you find especially daunting, or they're trying to get you to participate in something that is very difficult for you, or you do not have the tools to you know partake in it, to do something about it. I keep saying I hate that. I hate that I say that. It's just what I'm thinking. It's like fucking that's stupid. And this becomes increasingly difficult if that particular day you're also dealing with some high level depression or anxiety, or some anger issues in association with that, or other things. And, well, if you have one of those days, it becomes very hard to mask. It becomes very hard to deal with their needs, and so you lash out, or you say things that you normally would be able to control, or you become avoidant, so you call out of work that day. I mean, and you have to make up a reason for calling out of work, because you can't call out of work to say, oh, my personality disorder is causing it to where I am low functioning today, and so thus I need to call out. That is not really like a covered thing. You can't call out of work because of your personality disorder. And you can try if you have very compassionate managerial staff, then maybe that's an option. But generally, it'll be seen as either an excuse or weakness of some kind. But all you're trying to do is avoid doing anything stupid, or saying anything rude, or lashing out at somebody, because that particular day you're not going to be able to take it. So that's difficult. So then you end up having to lie. You end up having to say, oh, I have a flu, or I'm sick, or I don't feel well, I have cramps if you're a lady. I have this, I have that. Or, well, not even that probably, but point is, you can use some kind of excuse that that your particular boss can understand, and you have to make up a lie in order to navigate, again, around their view of what is okay and isn't okay, a reason enough to not come into work that day. And it's not like, it's an everyday thing. If you're that non high functioning, then at that point you have to take a different route. You shouldn't be working. But some of us, like myself, who's pretty high functioning, with my issues, still have those days where I'm fucking done. Like I can't deal with the masking, or I can't deal with any alterations to my behavior to cater to either customer needs or coworker needs or managerial needs or whatever it is that is the situation. It could be school, it could be work. Because that day, that particular fucking day, you're not gonna be okay. You're not gonna be okay because you're gonna blow your top on somebody, and it's gonna end up getting you fired or reprimanded, which in turn will make you more resentful and more angry um, at them and at human beings in general. At least in my case. So, and especially since you went through such efforts to try to be one of them or be as close to one of them as you can in order to, function within the driftwood they call society. So, as you can tell, I endure, not endure, I'm exhibiting a lot of anger. I produce a lot of rage when it comes to these issues. I'm not this visibly or auditorily angry, obviously in public or around others that wouldn't understand. But this is what this is for, right? This is what this recording is for. But I am sure that there's many of you listening, um, whether you just stumbled across this channel for the first time or you're one of the few subscribers, when you get really, really angry at that situation and you just think to yourself, fuck you, right? You think, I don't want to do this. I don't want to be what you want me to be. I don't want to go to work and do the things besides my job. I just want to do my job. I want to do what it is that is categorically there as my position and nothing else. I don't want to talk to my coworkers and be friendly and have fun. I don't want to hear my manager's bullshit, whining and bitching about something that was either his fault or is no one's fault, but somehow it's being made the underling's fault. I don't want to hear those things. Just shut the fuck up and do your job, and I'll shut the fuck up and do my job. And we could just leave each other alone. And it might not be that exact kind of reason for the anger, but you know what I'm saying. It's that frustration at living somewhere or having to take part in things that make no sense to you or that you have absolutely no interest in, but having no choice, feeling like a prisoner. For some of you, and I've known people like this, it's dread, right? It's not anger, it's not frustration, like in my case. It's dread, it's fear. You wake up in the morning, it's another day, you have your coffee, or you do whatever it is your morning ritual is, whether it's, having something to eat or staring up at the ceiling, wishing you didn't wake up. Because, everyone's had those days. Well, not everyone, but some of us, I'm sure. Um, and then just dreading all morning going to work, dreading having to deal with these people, dreading having to go through the motions, through the routine to collect your measly check, which at the end of the day will only perpetuate your already miserable existence. And for some people, it's dread, it's fear. For some, like myself, it's anger, it's frustration, it's depression. It translates differently for a lot of people. And I know there are, plenty of normies that have their days, but it's rough when your days are almost every single fucking day. And you're expected to smile and nod like they do for the things that they smile and nod for themselves. And I get it. Being a wage slave isn't fun for anyone. But the level of internal effort that is required of some of us, especially those of us with these sort of issues, is particularly high, demanding, and seemingly impossible on some days. So, just to calm down a little. um, so this is the kind of stuff that I had explained to my psych. And, I've been trying to find workarounds as far as how to deal with the anger. Or maybe in your case, the fear, the bitterness, And I was given a pretty good idea. I don't know how well it's gonna work, but it made me laugh harder than I had laughed in a while. Um, and know that I'm not always this angry person. I don't walk around fucking shuffling my feet, fucking pissed off all the time. That's not who I am. It's just a big part of who I am. I'm generally pretty calm, relaxed, easygoing. That's my personality. Kind of apathetic. Hey, let's just chill. Do whatever it is we feel like doing. Like that. But anyway, that day I was angry and I was telling my psych all this stuff. And she gave me, like I said, this idea. She said, okay, you know how you have these invisible, issues that people can't see. People can't see that you're schizoid. People can't see it. There's no way to really announce it without a long, awkward, insane explanation, right? None of that, right? So you pretty much have to live with the fact that this is just going to be how it is, at least for now. And of course, in my head I'm going, why does it have to fucking be like this? Why? Why can't I just be like, fuck you, I'm going to be me? You know? But, that's the reality currently of the situation. So she's helping me cope. Sorry, they are helping me cope. But in that case, they said, pretend that the other people have those same invisible issues. Treat them with the same pity and patience and understanding that you would a blind man or like a kid with Down syndrome or something. You wouldn't get mad at that kid because, it's apparent that there's something going on. So patience and kindness is required. So I was told essentially to look at other people, I guess the neurotypical, like this, in this way. And I found it humorous just because it's so, like, it's kind of demeaning in a weird way, but it's not. And so instead of getting angry with them, just to kind of feel sorry for them. And it sounds so just condescending and so full of myself if I were to be going around thinking like that. But I mean, what other options are there besides, anger? Would it be better for me to just scoff at them and think myself not above, but just, oh, those poor children. Like, it feels really gross, but it seems to be a better alternative than becoming increasingly angry every day. But I don't quite know. Go ahead and leave in the comments what you think. Is that a better route than getting fucking mad? all the time. Just being some some prick that thinks that people with emotions or emotional needs required of me are just, mentally deficient or something. Like I have to treat them like they have some kind of um, issue that's invisible that I have to be patient with, just as I wish they were with myself, or at least not patient, but just simple reasoning would be nice. It's reasonable behavior, in my opinion. So you go ahead and leave a comment on what you think would be the better plan, or if you have other alternatives on how to change your perspective or your view of having to deal with these interactions that aren't necessarily fear or anger. Something productive, maybe, or less intrusive to the mind. So if you think of anything, go ahead and post it. I'd like to hear your advice or your or what you think of my psych's advice. So I wanted to bring up also a comment that Ina, that was a subscriber, had left. She had mentioned, you could read it below. There's not that many comments, but there's enough. Um, where she describes some of the issues that occur when it comes to PD related classifications. And I know there's a lot of literature, and then the books that they use to classify specific things. There's a lot of contradictory information. There's a lot of way the classification conflict with the manner it's treated, with also the manner it's medically classified, and all sorts of issues, which I'm not going to get into all the details of, because plus I'm not as familiar as it sounded like Ina was uh, pertaining to the subject. But the reason I want to bring it up is because there's an issue related to this. She had mentioned the change that was going to occur regarding classification, in which they could they would set up a personality disorder degree based on mild to severe. So they would kind of classify you as like, oh, you have a severe personality, or you have a mild personality disorder, and you have this. And a lot of this information, a lot of this decision making is based on how detrimental your personality disorder is to your functioning, right? So it's in relation to your ability to function in everyday life. Hold a job, drive a car, have a family, have relationships, have any kind of social life of any kind. That sort of stuff. Like it's kind of in relation to that, the severity or your ability to just communicate and things like that, right? Like at the given time when you're being diagnosed. There's a big fucking problem with that. Huge problem with that. That problem is that since I'm the only person I can talk about really, since I'm myself, is that when you're high functioning, it doesn't mean you're not suffering. It just means you have the determination, willpower, and just extreme fortitude, maybe. I don't know what words to use. But you trudge through it, you fucking push through the mud. You do it because, say, in my case, I have a family. I have people I care about. I need to accomplish things. I need to finish goals. I can't just, wallow in my own misery all goddamn day and frustration. I need to get things done. And so, say you have really good masking, like myself, and you're really good at it because that's what you did for, fucking 2 decades. And and so when you get diagnosed, they decide, oh, well, he's got a mild personality disorder because you're so capable of holding a job and doing all these things, going to the uni and getting your degrees and all that good stuff. So that must mean you're not suffering. It's not severe, because otherwise you wouldn't be able to do any of those things. Yeah, so that's fucking stupid, in my opinion. If that's one of the determining factors, is how much it's detrimental to your ability to function in everyday life. Because there's also a ton of comorbid kind of factors that aren't being considered here, like extreme levels of depression or anxiety and things like that. Like, dude, I suffered for years with panic attacks, all sorts of things like that. A lot of fear and dread. That's why I'm familiar with it. It's not what I deal with as much now. Now it's anger, but um, the dread, the fear that came with panic attacks, I had those. I had that feeling every day. It was a daily basis. I didn't achieve my semi victory over that sort of stuff until some CBT, which didn't factor in anything schizoid related, because I think at the time my therapist wasn't really picking up on that and didn't have maybe the schooling or understanding to know that this reached far beyond just simple panic attacks. Um, but the I was bordering on agoraphobia for a couple of years, and a combination of CBT and medication. In case you're curious, Fluoxetine, which is the classic Prozac, helped me significantly with the anxiety. And now I'm more functioning than I was then. No, I would argue I'm the same amount of functional, because even during that period of my life in which the panic attacks were ongoing, I was still doing stuff like um, working 40 hours a week, going to school at the same time, raising a new baby. I was doing all those things, yet was a schizoid ADD guy with generalized anxiety disorder. But I was high functioning, so does that mean it wasn't severe? It wasn't severe enough? Or did I just hunker down, do it anyway? And it's almost like you're not being rewarded for doing so. You're being almost like, not reprimanded, but like it's being toned down. Your issues are being minimized because you were able to suffer through all that and still manage somehow to create some semblance of a life. it, that's insane to me. It's so fucking insane. It's almost like as if we want to get the treatment or the maybe medications or the the proper label of being particularly disabled or whatever you want to call it, like they want you to be as vulnerable and as incapable as they consider in order to achieve their standard of severity. It kills me, because there's many of us out there that do things every day and have seemingly functional lives, but are always on the cusp of complete just madness, or wanting to just, but it's difficult. But it's kind of what I want this channel to be. A little bit of schizoid or cluster A personality disorder awareness, I guess, or B and C, all of them, right? We all have our things, all our cool clusters. But the cluster A club is is really well hidden. I would say it's probably one of the most hidden. Outside of some of that cool avoidance, I believe it's cluster B action. Um, then you really hit it because you don't even show up on the radar half the time. You never even go get help. So you don't even want to deal with the social interaction required of trying to get help, right? At that point. But but yeah, awareness and not so much awareness like, oh, we need to be aware of them and pity them. And, oh, they need to be accommodating to us. No, it's more of a like a for me it's more of an angrier kind of. It's more of like, hey, you know what? Fuck you, and your fucking normie garbage. Fuck you and your inability to see shit like we have to see every goddamn day. Because you know what's hilarious to me? You want to know what's fucking funny? Is that if you got a lot of these kind of cluster A fucking peeps and a lot of these other fucking peeps in different PDs or whatever, if you got us all together and you actually played our strengths, man, you could probably create some really cool shit. Way cooler than the garbage fucking town that you made. You goddamn fucking neurotypical pieces of shit. That's how it feels. I'm not saying that's right. Goddamn. That's how it feels. Because whether if you're schizotypical or schizophrenic, um, you have all these hidden demons. You have all this hidden. You have a hidden world of all sorts of God knows what, and you still remain functioning. More power to you. More power to you. But fuck, how hard is that, right? How hard is it to just push through it all and still go about your day? And it's almost like they expect you to do it. It almost feels like you're expected to excel past it. We don't expect a blind man to see. We don't expect a crippled man to walk, right? Why do we expect a schizotypical or schizoid or schizophrenic individual to uh, achieve social norms? I mean, as long as they're not hurting anyone, as long as they're not, infringing on the individual rights of other individuals, why the fuck do we have to partake in your goddamn social norms in order to have a goddamn job, in order to do anything? That's how I fucking feel. You know why we have to? It's because other people have these emotional needs they need fulfilled for them. They have everything else in their fucking life, but they need us. They need us to be like them so that they don't have to deal with how awkward it may be for them, or they don't have to deal with the difficulties that come with communicating with somebody like us. But yet we have to deal with the difficulties of communicating with someone like them just because they have the fucking numbers. Sorry. That's how I feel. Like I said, is it healthy? Probably not. Do many of us feel it? Abso-fucking-lutely. All right. Thank you for listening. Or, if you didn't like it, comment. If you liked it, comment. If you have opinions or ideas or something you want me to talk about sometime, anything specific, hell, it could be a fucking TV show. I don't care. I can ramble on and prattle on about just about it, just about anything, to be honest. It's kind of how I cope with this purposeless existence. All right, subscribe, like. It helps the channel thing to try to kind of grow. And the reason I want it to grow is so I can, get this message of fucking anger across, I guess, to others that feel it too. To maybe it's cathartic for some people to hear someone else do it, to hear that other people are, or someone else is going through similar as yourself, is going through that similar kind of anger, frustration as yourself. That's what I'm told. I'm being told that others seem to find it beneficial to listen to. But there's nothing wrong, there's nothing wrong with getting mad. Get mad. Get fucking mad. You hear a lot of commentators getting mad about all sorts of stuff, right? Whether it's political or some ideology, or you're mad because they fucked up your video game or they fucked up your movie or whatever. And I'll get into that sometime. Don't worry. I'm gonna do some recordings at some point about specific things that really, really bother me. I'll do some more generalized stuff, but then there's specific kind of infractions, fucking due to the trends and whatever it is, dumb fucking social needs that are currently being exhibited. Um, but yeah, just that's why I wanted to grow. I wanted others to feel they're not the only angry ones out there. I'm angry with you. I'm angry with you. Thanks.